even though we've lived here 6 years and Frank knows the language really well, even today he was a little bit culturally challenged. He said L instead of law in front of something. Do you remember what that was? I'm going to have this wonton sopa. We're in the Chifa in El Centro, Cuenca, Ecuador. And I bet you can't guess what Frank's gonna have. Alright, so I've said many times that I'm a student of observation. Speaking of retiring abroad, moving abroad, living abroad, and being in a culture of a different language, we were just noticing that a lot of the younger expats, a lot of them know Spanish, and I'm at that level where I'm always going to call myself younger, but to be serious about it, you know, I'm not that far from 60, so, well, Angie and I were discussing this, saying that, you know, there's a certain level that I think people get to, that they become comfortable at a certain age, is what I was saying. And I just see all the challenges that people have. Not all of them, but mostly the older crowd. Not all of the older crowd either. I mean, we've met older expats that speak Spanish. So again, this is just a discourse about an observation of the challenges that people have when they go abroad, and we just can't help but notice that it tends to be a segment of the older crowd that says, well, I'm so comfortable, why do I have to make that much effort now? Because learning a language is an effort. It's a big effort, and it's an ongoing effort. So it's not like something that you do a couple of times and you can say, well, I've done that, I'm done. It's like a daily and weekly, monthly effort, ongoing from here on out. It's a commitment, right, Ange?
Yeah, it is.
It's a commitment. And I think that what happens is people don't make the commitment. They say, Well, I'm in a stage in life where I'm comfortable, and why should I cause myself any discomfort?
A person's attitude is very important as far as, you know, they need to set it in their heart and mind that they're going to do something. They need to create a very strong desire or have a very real need to speak Spanish because they interact. The consequences of always being around English speakers is that you're not going to speak Spanish, you're going to speak English. You understand, okay? Before I even came here, I set it in my heart and mind that I was going to learn Spanish before I even came here. I made choices that were uncomfortable. That means I moved into a neighborhood where I didn't speak the language. Was it uncomfortable? Yes, it was. It was very uncomfortable, especially the first 6 months. But see, that caused me to have to come out of my shell, so to speak, in a language kind of a way.
Maybe they try a little bit of language learning and they decide that there's just so much. I decided that if I get run over, at least I'll get them on camera.
I'm watching out for you, hon.
I'm not sure if that's good thinking. I don't think it is.
Is it cloudy? I mean, you can...
What's the occasion? It's Friday.
Even though we've lived here 6 years and Frank knows the language really well, even today he was a little bit culturally challenged. He said L instead of la in front of something. Do you remember what that was?
Well, I asked the bus driver, which I always recommend, if you don't know something, go straight to the source. The Ecuadorians are the place to get your information, and that's how I do it. So I'm waiting at the bus stop and I'm asking them, does 13 pass by here? And I said el 13, which is the 13, but in Spanish they have male and female suffix, or prefix I should say. Yeah, English teachers might correct me on this. And I said el 13 and the bus driver corrected me and said la 13. He said, yes, la 13 pasa de aquí. Yeah, 13 comes by here. You know, I've done this ever since we came here when I didn't know any Spanish. I didn't know any Spanish at all. And the first time I got on a bus and ended up on some tiny dirt road way up in the mountains, I figured out that I better ask the bus driver. I better learn how to ask bus drivers. Now, occasionally, 1 out of 100 times, you'll get a non-cooperative bus driver, but for the most part, that doesn't happen. But if that does, you just get off the bus